Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to actually prepare for law school. So there's so much out there. Do you need to prepare? Do you need to do anything? Do you need to just relax? Should you read law books? Whatever. And I'm going to tell you what I think. Okay? I'm going to tell you what you should actually do to truly prepare for law school, what allowed me to perform well in law school, finish in the top of my class, and what has likewise helped my clients, okay? If you guys don't know, my name is Sephora. I'm a licensed attorney and a law school coach. I help individuals just like you get into and succeed in law school. I've coached over hundreds of individuals get into law school, top law schools all across the country. I myself worked at two of the top big law firms. I had two federal clerkships in both the federal district and federal circuit court. And I am so excited to be talking to you guys. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you have not already, make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button. Okay. Preparing for law school. I think everyone should do it. And I could just end the video there, but I won't. Okay. So first and foremost, I'm going to start off by saying, I do not think you need to get in depth and start reading like crazy a torts book or your civil procedure book or whatever it may be, right? And you probably won't even understand what you're reading. However, have I found that some kind of law school prep will help you? Yes, 100%, absolutely. Think about it this way, right? Especially if you are first generation, non-traditional, or no attorneys in your family or whatever it may be, law school is unlike anything you have ever done before. And so you're going to do yourself a huge favor if you can educate yourself on what it is you need to know and what it is you need to do to succeed in law school, especially to increase your chances of succeeding your first year in law school, especially if you've got goals of big law, federal clerkships, because while your first year 1L grades are not the end all be all and does not determine your ultimate success as an attorney, it does play a part in the roles you can get immediately coming out of law school. And I've experienced it myself. I've seen it in my friends and I've seen it in my clients. So last year I held a law school prep workshop for my clients, and they have told me over and over again how beneficial it was. And those clients that I held that for last year have since now finished their first year in law school. And majority of them, I'm going to say like 90% of them finished in the top of their class. And that's top third or higher. So top 20 or top 10, top 5, whatever. Right. And, first and foremost, I think the first thing, well, I'm not going to do this in any order, but I do think one of the first things you need to learn how to do is learn how to create a schedule. So I've talked about this. I talked about this in one of my other videos, and I don't remember which one, but a schedule is going to allow you to take control in this space where it's so difficult or so easy to feel lost, because law school is going to feel so new, and that's because it is new and it's not like anything you've done before. And so having a schedule is going to kind of bring that control back to you. And even if you're not a schedule person, so even if you typically before law school didn't use schedules, didn't follow schedules, it's going to be beneficial. More than likely, you're going to have probably 15 credits, right? Or somewhere around there, your first semester in law school. You are going to need to be studying for those 15 credit classes. And you want to track or at least know how many hours you're getting in for those 15 credit classes, right? I recommend a certain number of study hours per credit hour. And so you need to track that week by week. And the only way to track that is to keep track through a schedule, okay? And the best thing is to just set those study hours in stone and in a wobbly stone. I'll explain why it's wobbly in a second. But the best thing to do is kind of just get yourself on a study schedule from jump, right? The minute you start law school, because you don't want to just kind of like leave it on a whim and say, I'll study when I get around, or it's going to change week by week. Like if you can get yourself into the habit of studying every Tuesday at 4 p.m., then that's going to become a habit for you, and you're going to know at Tuesdays at 4 p.m. I'm studying for torts for 3 hours. Thursdays at 5 p.m. I'm studying for civil procedure for 2 hours, whatever it may be, right? And so then when things come along and you do actually end up needing to move those study hours, it's not a big deal, and you can just push them somewhere else because you have a concrete schedule and you know, well, previously here I was going to do 2 hours, but now I have this new thing, and so I'll just move those 2 hours somewhere else, right? So that's the first reason having that schedule is going to be beneficial for you, is because you need to keep track of your study hours. And I have found, and my clients have found, that just setting in stone when those study hours are going to be is going to increase the likelihood of you, one, doing them, and two, succeeding in doing it and not falling behind in your classes or in your courses. The second reason you're going to need a schedule is because when you get closer to exam time, and it's just, oh my gosh, when you get closer to exam time, and I felt like that's like probably the first time I have really ever in my life been stressed was around law school exam time. I mean, I literally kid you not, right? I had never been stressed before. Law school, I mean, undergrad was a breeze for me. I barely tried and still did really well. And oh my gosh, like y'all, I was having heart palpitations. I was like, what is wrong with me? Am I dying? Like, what is going on? Like, I did not know. Okay. But anyway, so when you have the schedule in place, when exam time comes around, it's going to help to ease that stress, because you're going to know, well, on this day, I'm doing these outlines, right? Because that's built in your schedule. On this day, I'm going to this professor's office hours, because that's built into your schedule, right? So you're not stressing and trying to cram everything, right? Because that's the point of the schedule. You're putting things in beforehand, and you know when you're going to do it. So when exam time comes, you're not like, or whatever, because your schedule has kept you on track. And so you're typically, more than likely, if you're watching this video, going to be far ahead of your other classmates who don't know the importance of doing so. So that's the first type of prep I would do, is learn how to create a law school schedule, learn what to include on it, and learn how to use it to increase your chances of success. The second thing I would say for law school prep is to learn about case briefing. And so to learn about case briefing, yes, you have to read a case. And so what I did was I assigned, sorry, I have to sit up. What I did was I assigned my clients 2 cases to read when I was doing this law school prep class last summer. Obviously, I gave them the case because otherwise, how would they have access to it? So I downloaded the case and I gave it to them to read and asked them to case brief it based on the coaching lesson I had just given them. So I gave them a lesson on how to case brief, and then I sent them a case and said, okay, do it. And so then the next time we had office hours, so it was 6 coaching sessions and 6 office hours. So the next time we had office hours to go over that homework, I was asking them, how did you do? What was the rule of law you came up with? What was so long ago, the rule of law, the facts, the procedural history, right? I had them do all of it. Okay. And so that's the other thing I would recommend is learning how to case brief, because if you know how to case brief before you start law school, like 1 or 2 weeks before at a minimum, then you won't be struggling or trying to waste time trying to figure it out when you're in law school. And the other things I taught my clients in that law school prep course was book briefing, was how to use Quimby, and was like case brief summarization or starting case brief from scratch, because I'm a proponent and a firm believer that there are multiple ways to succeed in law school. There is no one size fit all, and you have to find what's going to work for you, because what works for the next person may not work for you. And so I teach it in multiple different ways, and then they can choose what works for them. And maybe that means once they get to law school, they're testing out different things to see what works, okay? So that's the second thing I would recommend, is getting an idea of case briefing and figuring out what works for you. The next thing that I would recommend that's going to help you really prepare for law school, this one may seem obvious. Like, I feel like it may seem obvious, but it's also just like, remember not to lose your hobbies, right? And not lose your hobbies, I also mean like don't lose yourself, because it's going to be so easy to kind of just be so caught up with the hustle and bustle of law school and wanting to do well in grades and all that stuff. But you have to remember that you need to keep your sanity. You need to keep who you are, all that good stuff. So just remember to keep doing your hobbies while you're in law school, keep exercising, keep yourself healthy. So that's the other thing that I just had to put in here, because I think a lot of people forget it. Okay. Next, the next most important thing is outlining. Oh my gosh. Outlining, yeah. Outlining is the ticket. Outlining is the golden ticket. If you can learn how to outline and do it in a way that's going to make you know the information or be able to recite it or analyze or you're going to be golden. I figured this out pretty quickly my 1L year, which I definitely think is a huge part in why I was, in the top of my class, was because I started outlining really early. I started outlining possibly my second or third week in law school. And I recommend to everyone to start no later than after their first month in law school to start outlining, because it really helps you summarize the information that you learn in law school. And similar to what I just said about like case briefing, there's different ways to outline. There's different ways for everyone to do it. I taught my clients multiple different ways. You have to learn what works for you and what's going to be best for you. So for me, I made my own outlines my 1L first semester, but every semester thereafter, I used someone else's outlines and worked from there. However, even though I made my own outlines first semester, I still used other people's outlines. I still used upperclassmen's outlines. So that's the other thing. You always want to make sure you get upperclassmen's outlines. Always want to make sure you get upperclassmen's outlines. That's one of the best things that you can do. And so I think also too, just part of that prep process is reaching out to those upperclassmen. For me, it was just reaching out to my mentors and asking them, or going through my law school's outline bank, whether it's BOLSA's outline bank, SBA, whatever, and looking for outlines for my classes and looking at those. So when you're getting those outlines, when you're first starting out, you probably won't know because you're 1L and you're just beginning. You probably won't know what's a good outline and what's not, but you will learn over time, okay? And if you're paying attention in class, you'll be adding to those outlines or changing those outlines anyway. But over time, you're definitely going to be able to tell what's a good outline and what's not a good outline. So that's the other thing. I would say the other thing that I think is really important as you're preparing for law school to keep in mind is your networking. I have a whole video up already on how I landed my big law firm jobs. And if that video doesn't tell you that you need to be networking, then I don't know what else will, but you definitely need to be networking. And I feel like this is an underrated or just not as emphasized portion of law school prep because people don't know how to network. And let me tell you this, okay? Because people have done it to me. I'm just like, oh, Lord, I'm gonna pray for you. In my head, of course, like I say it to myself. Emailing someone or you do not know, or messaging someone you do not know who is an attorney and saying, hey, girl, that's not networking. That is not networking, and don't do it, okay? Like, you are in law school. Or going to be in law school, and you are trying to be an attorney, and you are talking to an attorney. In what world would you message them, hey, girl? What? So I really networking is important. It's something you need to really keep in mind and learn how to do. And maybe I'll do a part 2 on this. Maybe I'll do a part 2 on other law school prep that you should do. But if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you guys don't know, my name is Sephora. I'm a licensed attorney and a 2-time federal law clerk, and I've helped hundreds of individuals get into and succeed in law school. You can get law school coaching by going to toppingthecurve.com. Make sure you click the link in the description box to get there. And feel free to sign up for my next workshop if you're applying to law school soon. We're going to be teaching you all about how to stand out in the law school admissions process. I hope to see you guys there. And don't forget to follow me on all my other social media at Topping the Curve. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. Bye.